Hi, and welcome to a webinar from Linkoping University. Today we're going to learn more about our master's program in Strategic, Urban and Regional Planning. I'm here with Christina, who's the program director, and Mohammed, who is a second year student. But before we move over to them to hear their experiences and let them explain more about the program, I just thought I would go through a few things. Please ask your questions in the questions section. We will answer these at the end. We'll be talking for about 20 to 30 minutes. And then we have plenty of time to answer questions from you all. The webinar is being recorded. This first part, where we have our conversation, will be recorded, not the question bit. Yeah, so you can view it again at a later date. But enough about this. Let's start by introducing our guests. It's Christina. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, my name is Christina Trygg. I am the program director for this master program in Strategic, Urban and Regional Planning. I'm also a senior lecturer at the Thematic Studies, Technology and Social Change. And my research interest is within this field of urban regional planning with a focus on sustainable development in urban areas.
Thank you. And Mohammed?
Hi everybody, I'm Mohammed, the second year student in the field, and I'm more than happy to be here with you and talking to you and sharing my experiences.
We really look forward to hearing them and hearing about your internship that you're currently undertaking. But let's start with Christina. Can you give us a brief introduction to the program, and why do we offer this program? What's the background?
Yes, I mean, we are in an urgent need to change our society that we live in today, and particularly emphasis is placed on the sustainability challenges that urban areas and regions are facing. And this includes, of course, the climate change, urbanization, digitalization, and social inequality. And the program addresses these challenges, and since they are complex, often conflicting, it's very important to be able to make well-grounded decisions about them. And the focus is placed on giving students the opportunity to deepen their ability to critically evaluate and use information in relation to these societal challenges that the program addresses. So to be able to do that, you need, as a student, a holistic long-term view of the challenges that the worlds are facing. And the program is set up to give you that and deepen the knowledge and skill within strategic and urban planning. And also there is a need for experts that can make these strategic decisions.
Thank you. While we're talking about this, how to gain the skills to make these strategic decisions, maybe we can share the slide you have with the program structure, because I think that's really interesting to. Let me go from the start. Oops, there we go. There we go. So the program is just like most of our master's program. It's a 2-year program, and the first and second semester are mainly course-based. Is that right?
Yes, I mean, for semester 1 and 2, the first year, it's actually it's obligatory courses that you see the structure of here. So we will start off with a 10 weeks course in strategic urban and regional planning that really introduce these kind of settings and set kind of the background and introduction for the whole program.
Is that the one you teach in?
Yes, I'm the course coordinator for that course. And in that course, we go first theoretically and introduces the field. And also we do a practical living lab with private actors or an organization. So it's like a real case study that the students will do, and then they will present this for the organization, like a jury in the end.
Okay.
And then we have the structure that all these challenges that I talked about really is one of the courses for the whole first year. So the urbanization and globalization, climate change, and so on is really the structure for the courses. And we only have a researcher as teacher as well, so they research in this area. So you will have the best knowledge from Linkoping University. So all the courses coordinated are research at Linkoping University. So we, yeah.
Are these? I actually received a question at a FARA where I was participating. Is this program is it aimed at European students or is it of benefit to students from outside the EU?
I mean, it's really for both, but we will address more European issues or in a European context. The main focus is, but it's open for all international students.
And other nationalities would also benefit from it and learn.
Yes, of course.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Mohammed, you're from outside the EU. What has your take been? What has your experience been of the first and second semesters and of these programs?
As Christina explained, that the main focus of the program is on the challenges that the world is facing right now: globalization, urbanization, digitalization, climate change complications, and social inequality. And these kind of challenges are exacerbating in even not non-EU countries like the Asian one, Middle Eastern one. So I think although most of, let's say, the focus and concentration on the courses are on the EU context, but we can apply the outcome of our knowledge, I think, in other countries as well. For example, as my personal experience, I think that when I return to my country, the context, the population is so much more compared to Sweden or European countries. And let's say the pollution is higher and everything, but the skills and knowledge that I've gained from the university and professors here, I think would be applicable to other contexts as well. So again, as Christina said, each of these focus areas have been addressed through different courses. For example, we've been a specific course on climate change transition profiles that we've been got accustomed and familiar with these mitigation and adaptation interventions that would benefit the cities in order to alleviate and reduce the rate of their, let's say, climate change complications. And all of them are kind of directed toward sustainable development goals and this UN agenda for 2030 that is a very trending concept worldwide right now. So yeah, in a nutshell, I think urban planning, if you wanted to change the society to a better world for the upcoming generations, one of the main measures that you need to contemplate on is urban planning, specifically strategic urban planning, I think.
Thank you. And which of these courses that were in the first year was the one specifically that you really enjoyed?
I really enjoyed all of them. All of them are like my children. I can't, differentiate between them.
Very diplomatic answer. It's good though. It's good though to hear that you enjoyed them all and that they all kind of fit together nicely in that sense. Then, let's move on to the second year, third and fourth semester, and this is interesting because you can kind of, from the look of this, you can mix and match a bit. You can kind of set your own path a bit. Christina, could you tell us a bit more about the options?
Yes, I mean, this second year of the program really is about to get the student to specialize what they really want to focus on, to give them opportunities to have different options, I would say, is very important, and we want them to be able to specialization courses that really are of their interest and what they want with their in the future to work with, for example. So we have, I mean, of course, 30 credits that you can have at our department or at Linköping University, as you see here. For example, this foodscapes in urban regional strategic planning, the visualization, sustainability in the urban realm, and the politics of planning, and critical perspective of planning for health. And as you can almost hear on this, they have different focus, for example, of health or the food production and sustainability issues about that. And then, of course, you can also do an internship, as Mohammed is doing right now, and you can choose to do it for the whole semester or for half of the semester. And this is really, we want to give the opportunity to the student to really try out the professional life and to get into an organization or private actor. And we want to have them to try out and try to work there. And this is, of course, the student's responsibility to finding the internship, but we will help them with writing a CV. We will have suggestions and contacts and agreements. They will have an agreement with their organization, and also we will help them with the reference letter and so on. So we will, of course, help them and have suggestions. But the point here really is to find an internship yourself that you really want to get into and understand and work for. And the only thing we want is that you it needs to be relevant, of course, for urban regional planning, and also that it's they will do an analytical assignment. And this is also to make sure that they really can do a thing there, to develop their skills, to try out, and kind of both help the organization and that the organization will help them.
Yeah. So basically, you don't do any you don't organize any internships for anybody in the sense that you don't have a pool of contacts.
Actually, we have a few, and they can choose to have it. But most of the students, I think Mohammed will agree with me, did on their own find an internship. But we have some.
Mohammed, I'd love to hear more about your internship. Where are you and what are you doing?
Firstly, I should thank Christina for this program. This opportunity for the students to undertake an internship as the third semester would, let's say, increase their competence and let them get to know the market of the destination country. So this internship, I think, would benefit me so much in the future. And now I'm in Stockholm. Actually, I have prepared my CV and try to contact to some department chefs in order to get this opportunity. Firstly, I'm in every company right now. Firstly, they actually answered me they don't want to have an internship right now. They don't need to. But after some days, they turn back to me and let me know that they're willing to have me as their intern for my third semester. So I moved from Norrköping, unfortunately, because I loved Norrköping. It's a beautiful small country with a great nature and people. And I moved from Norrköping to Stockholm. It's around 2 months and a half ago. And now, I'm living in Stockholm and doing my internship. Actually, I'm now sitting at the office of AFRI in Solna, Stockholm.
And do you, as part of this, you have to do a project, or I mean, are you kind of throughout your internship, are you a regular staff member, but you're also doing a project, or how does it work?
Since the beginning, thus far, actually, I've been involved in 3 projects, and most of them are ongoing. For example, one of them was about, let's say, the road safety index that the A3 senior consultants are designing for a client. I don't know, how much information I could.
No, don't worry about it.
Yeah, it's done by Claes Tingvall and Anders Lee, 2 very famous Swedish experts in traffic, the people who were behind the Vision Zero that is spread worldwide afterwards during the last decades. The other project was designing and implementing some fences alongside the railway tracks in order to prevent the impulsive suicides. That is gonna, increasing a little bit, maybe because of the psychological complications after the spread of COVID or stuff. And the last one is trying to find some indicators for bus stops, tram stops, and so on, in order to integrate the perspective and perception of children into the actually, in order to know the perception of children on the traffic flow, and in order to, let's say, give a score to different stations in order to measure their children friendliness.
Okay. Now I think this sounds great. I mean, this I assume, Christina, gives a really good insight into future career opportunities.
Yes, of course, and that's really the benefit of doing an internship.
Brilliant. Let's move back to this. I just want to finish off because the 4th semester is the entire blue line there. It says thesis, which you will have in the next semester. You have that to look forward to, Mohammed. What is the thesis? I mean, what is expected of the students for the thesis?
Yeah, I mean, the thesis is really about, to get devoted the whole semester to write their thesis. And we also want the student, if they do an internship, to really think of what they can do in the thesis, to think of it early. So we start in the 2nd semester with the method course. And to think of this and get them prepared for the whole thesis semester, I will say. And also that's why we have this possibility to have individual specialization. It's a course that you can have for 5 weeks, and there you can really you can do like a pre-study for your thesis. You can try out a method, or you can try to do a literature review of what you want to focus on in your thesis. So this is something you can have to prepare yourself for the whole thesis.
Okay. And the thesis is usually, do you do it individually or in teams or groups, and is it within the university, or is it similar to an internship where you actually do it with industry?
It's individually. So everyone will write their thesis individually, and you will have some seminars and so on for the semester, but you can do the thesis abroad, like a minor field studies or something like that. You can get a stipendium to do it abroad. And you can do it in collaboration, or what to say, with an organization, but you really need to think of that it's the focus is an academic writing here. So you need to really have that clear if you do it in collaboration with an organization or a company. But the supervisor will be at the university.
Okay, thanks. Mohammed, have you got yours planned out already?
I have some minor at least on my mind, and I have
Mm.
talked to, for example, Klaus on this like road safety issues, and he was so
Mm.
willing and helpful. We talked a little bit about thesis, and he might be one of my supervisors. I think that I should have one professor from the university, and maybe I could have the other consultant or
Mm.
supervisor from
Mm.
the industry or another universities. I also have talked about this kind of designing the fences to Johan, the person who is affiliated with Trafikverket and Karolinska Institute, who is mostly responsible for designing and implementing the fences. So I'm trying to kind of try to connect this, the design of the fence to the road traffic safety, and have some consultant and supervisors from outside the university, and of course from within the university, in order to you know try my best to incorporate all the thoughts in the area.
Okay, sounds good. Um, Before we move on to kind of questions in a bit, because I think we've already been talking for 20 minutes, I'd like to hear more about um, the student life here, Mohammed. You said you liked Neuköping. What was it like living in Neuköping?
Yeah, actually, I loved Norrköping. It's a very beautiful city. Actually, all the Swedish cities are beautiful. I've been to like 10 of them at least, from Skellefteå and Umeå up north till this is Stockholm, Linköping, Söderköping, Nyköping. The very first thing that uh, attracts my attention in Sweden is this integration of nature, streets, buildings. It's exactly the representative of blue green country. It just took you 5 minutes to walk from wherever you stand right now to get to a forest, a lake, or both of them. So it's very wonderful. I think maybe Norway or Canada would be more or less the same as Sweden, but I really like Sweden in this case.
It's
And
interesting. You actually have the center of Neuköping behind you, with Campus Neuköping, and you can see that the river kind of flows through the city.
yeah, exactly. And this picture is like 3 or 4 minutes by walk away from the accommodation that we used, my wife and I used to live there. So, and also I could add that the Swedish people, Swedes are so nice, welcoming, helpful, compassionate. I don't know in what countries there's been this cliche that maybe Scandinavian people are a little bit cold because of the weather or everything, but it's not true at all. They are not cold. They are very sociable, very helpful and warm in any aspect. And also about Norrköping, during the summer there have been a lot of lakes for swimming just around the city. So it was very fun for my wife and I to just go there by bikes, swim a little bit, and take back to home just for in a duration of 4 or 5 hours.
Sounds like you had a really, really nice time. How did you mentioned, the people are the cliche of cold people because of the cold weather. How did you cope with the cold weather then, and with the dark winters?
Um, yes, the winters here in Sweden are a little bit cold, more than a little bit, and they are dark. But I know some people that, because of these reasons, after the graduation, left Sweden for other countries. But I mean, at least for me, for my wife, and many other people that know here, international students and people from Sweden, these characteristics might be a little bit difficult at some times to cope with, but normally because of different things. Let's say, the cloth industry here is something like when you put on a jacket, so it's not that much cold inside. So
Yeah.
the people here, have learned how to cope with the weather and everything, and they are actually providing us with their technologies. So I would say that at least for me, this darkness and cold weather is not a big deal at all.
Yeah. I think Swedish people cope as well because, since they were little, their parents tell them there is no bad weather, there's only bad clothes.
Exactly.
They tell you that all the time. But yeah, you're right. It is warm indoors, and I think a lot of people from even Southern Europe have kind of been surprised by the fact that it's always heated and it's always warm indoors, even in the winter. I would like to find out a bit more about from both of you, really, kind of the target student in the sense of who would, I don't want to say target student, but the kind of person who would enjoy and thrive on this program. So both academic background, but also in terms of personality traits and I mean, who are we aiming this program at?
Should I start? Well, I mean, if you really talk about the background, we really want you to have the students to have a background in urban and regional planning. And we say it's around 90 credits in urban regional planning or following relevant subject area, such as human geography, global studies, public administration, town planning, country planning, environmental science, some economics, architecture, to give you some examples that I come up with new, but we list this on the website. Also that we really want students that want to change and what is motivated and interested to work with the global changes that we have talked about, both me and Mohammed, that the world are facing today, and wants to plan for the cities of tomorrow, I would say, and to be very problem-oriented. Analytical studies is very important to addressing these urban challenges. So we want students to be interested in both the practical and the academic writing. And you need, of course, to be able to read and write in English because the whole program is in English. So writing skills, but also to be able to talk and write in English is good. And to be able to work independently and to organize and plan your studies, of course. And we have some group works, but you really need to be able to plan for your studies yourself and study, because a typical week is like half time you have lectures and seminars, and half time you need to study and read before different lecture and seminars. So it's very important to be able to think of that as well.
Mm-hmm. So we have a kind of strategic mind in a sense.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Mohammed, how would you say this? I mean, what were you all like? You and your fellow students.
Not only this program and maybe university or city is an international place or a place for international students, but also at least in this program, we as students have many different backgrounds that was very beneficial for each of us. For example, one of the mates was from political science, so me myself have learned many things from him. The other one was from international relations, some from human geography, and some of us from architecture, and many other from urban planning. So this combination and amalgamation, could have benefited all of us in order to learn from each other, not only the professors, but also from each other. So I think this atmosphere of having a variety of measures as the background of our studies, I think would benefit all of us, or let's say have benefited all of us so far.
So basically, another personality trait really is a willingness to share, a willingness to kind of use your own knowledge to teach, or to share with your fellow students.
Exactly. I would say the first characteristic that you need to have is you need to be a hard worker, because the workload is so high in this program. Even if you wanted to work part-time, you won't have time to do that. At least for me, it was not like this. I had put all of my energy and time on the courses, and it's like mostly all the weeks starts by a lecture from the professors. We have been assigned some articles and book chapters to read and get to know to this new subject. And late on the same week, we had this seminar between the professors and students in order for us to discuss these new concepts. So it feels like, at least for me, after every single week during the last year, I've taken something new with me in the area of strategic regional urban planning.
Oh, great. That sounds really, really good. Yeah, but I'm glad you mentioned that, because we get that question a lot about part-time work, and our programs do require full-time studies, 40 hours a week, and it's also there's a limited number of jobs available, especially for students who don't speak Swedish. So it's not something that if you can find something, then good on you, but it's not something that we recommend that you kind of hang your entire financial situation on. You do need to have your own funding. We're going to move over to questions. So we're going to end up saying goodbye to the viewers who are watching this recording. But before I go, I just wanted to say that the application period opens on the 18th of October and closes middle of January. I believe it's the 17th of January this year. Have a look on our website, or you can just Google how to apply LIU and you get the page. And there's basically a page on how to apply. It's a video that's really it's really kind of explains everything really well. Have a look there and make sure you kind of look at the application in good time before the deadline, so that if you're missing anything, if your English tests and so on. And we've shared a link to our blog, which I should have mentioned when Mohammed was telling you about student life. I don't think we have a student from this program participating this year, but we have students from a variety of programs, and follow them. Have a look at what they say about the university, what they say about living here. They're sharing loads of great tips. So have a look at the blog, and our Instagram page as well, which is run by our students. So they take turns managing it for a week each, and they show you their life here, really. And it's really useful because you can learn from their mistakes in a sense. But the things that they have kind of encountered during their time here, you can learn from it. You can learn a lot from both the blog and the Instagram. So without further ado, thank you and goodbye. And now to the viewers who are with us live. We have questions, I believe. Luke, you are muted.
Yes, and indeed we do have questions. Thank you, Therese. That's where I come in. So basically, yeah, we have already received a lot of questions. Some might have been answered. We will check that. But anyway, it would probably be good for some to hear similar questions. Let's dive in. Clementine has asked, basically the question is, I'm not sure if your master's only open to students finishing their bachelor, or also to if anyone basically can apply. And she has a master in political sciences currently.
Christina, would you like to answer that one?
Yeah, I mean, she will be. It will be open for her if she has a bachelor. I didn't really understand that. If she had a master in political science, she said.
Yeah.
Or if she had a bachelor in it. But even though you need to have 90 credits of relevant areas, field of areas. So, and that I said is political science, for example. And if that is in a master, it's totally fine.
So we don't just accept students who have just finished their bachelor. It's we welcome older students as well with experience from masters. Thank you.
Okay. Great,
Yeah, I
thank
just
you.
wanted to add that,
Sure, go
sorry,
ahead.
not only I have bachelor in architecture, but also master's and PhD as well, and applied to this program, and they kindly accepted my application.
Good. Thanks.
Okay. Next question from Oliana asking, are there scholarships with total coverage for students from other countries in crisis? And she herself is from Venezuela, indicating that. But I guess the main question, if there are scholarships covering the total.
Yeah, I can answer that. I'm afraid the LIU scholarship that we offer is only a partial tuition fee reduction. So you tend to be around 50%. They range between 25 and 75% of the tuition fee. So that's what we have on offer. To be eligible to apply for this, you need to have applied on time. You need to have been accepted onto the program you have selected, because the application period for our scholarships opens after the results have been announced in April. But most importantly, you need to rank the program that you wish to apply for a scholarship to as your number one. In your application, you can apply for up to 4 programs. And they can be at any university, or they can be at the same university, but you need to be aware of how you rank them. But I would suggest having a look at the Swedish Institute. I'm not sure if Venezuela is on that list. They have, I think they offer scholarships for around 40 or 45 countries. But have a look, because their scholarship does cover both tuition and cost of living.
Okay, thank you, Therese. Great information. I will try to find the Swedish Institute link maybe quickly soon after, so we can share that maybe as well. Now, question from Sanzaya. It's asking how not to be staking when choosing disciplines.
I think this is for Christina. As in, do you mean disciplines as in the different paths in the second year?
I'm
not sure. I'm not sure. This is the information we have. Sanzaya, maybe you can elaborate a little bit, but I don't know.
Maybe Christina, you can answer. How do you make sure that you have the right that you've chosen kind of the right track?
I mean, it's not really any right track. It's up to you to decide what you want to study for the second year, the third semester. So if you choose to focus on healthcare, for example, then you choose a course in that. If you want to focus on foodscapes, you choose the courses about that, or visualizations and so on. So you choose what you want to specialize your semester on, or if you do an internship. So you can talk to the study advisor, of course, about this, or me as the program director, or students who have already taken this semester. And we will have information about this, and we will come and talk to the students, and we always invite all the students for that specific date.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. I did get an answer from thank you from Sanzaya, so I guess that is what she was looking for. Thanks a lot. The question from Emmanuel, when will the application admission process start?
Starts on the 18th. So I believe 18th is, that's on next Monday, I think it is. So on the 18th, the application process opens. And if you go to the program page, you can find a button that says apply now. And that button will take you to the application at universityadmissions.se. Make sure you have everything you need for the program. Make sure you have proof of English, which is either an English test or if you have already studied in English. University admissions also have a page with country-specific information. Definitely have a look, find this page and have a look at that, because it kind of tells you what you need in the context of your own country. So 18th of October, next Monday, is when it opens.
Okay.
Do we have another? Yeah. Oh, you shared the scholarships.
Yep.
Brilliant.
I was just sharing the scholarship a bit
Yeah,
from the Swedish
great.
Institute. Indeed. So if there's any other people looking for other scholarship opportunities, you can find them there and see if your country is part of this, like you mentioned. Question from Samuel is, do students get paid for internships?
Should I answer that? Or
Christina or Mohammed?
Yeah, I mean, it's you don't have to, but if you can also get paid for your internship, of course. It depends on what kind of internship you have, but we don't pay, and I mean, Leo University don't pay any pay the students for internship. But I mean, there are organizations and companies that search for internship, and they might pay students some, and that's nothing that we really care about, or I mean, it's really up to the students.
So I think it's up to the company. I kind of thinking that traditionally an internship means it is unpaid.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I have, for example, one student that I know that we get a little bit paid. It's not much, and it's just for doing a specific thing.
Okay, good to know. Thank you. We won't ask Mohammed if he gets paid or not. We won't put him in that situation.
So I just could add that, you know, there is this agreement between the university and the organization that, you know, specifically said that it's not a requirement for the company to pay us, but, you know, my supervisors in this every company told me that if, you know, they could assign me some real projects that the clients are gonna, you know, paying some fee for that, they would be happy to give me that, you know, amount of money. And actually during the amongst the three projects that I mentioned, one of them, the Johan told me that he's gonna maybe give me some money through the invoice from this Karolinska Institute, because it was like the real project, and I put some time specifically on like drawing some plans for them and etc. So I just wanted to let the students know that, as Christina said, there would be a chance for you to get paid. Maybe not that much, but it's better than nothing.
Yes, true. Good. Oh, I'm glad that they are fair. Luke, we have another question.
Yes, thank you. We will go on with a question from Hannah. She's asking, how relevant is applicants' previous degree and work experience? There was something mentioned about this just before, but just to emphasize on that, she, for example, has a bachelor in law and was a real estate lawyer. A little bit different probably than the urban planning background, but what can you say about this?
I can say that it's very hard for me to just when she gave me that little information, but we have, I mean, it depends on if we can see that 90 credits is relevant as an urban planner. She will be, it's okay. So we need to see the application in detail. It's not me, of course, but we have some. But I guess it depends on what bachelor she has and what courses she have been taking. But most law students have some in urban planning, for example, and you probably also can choose courses, for example, in that could be relevant for us.
So it's basically, it's not necessarily the degree itself, but it's the courses taken within the degree. So as Mohammed said, he has fellow students who have done political science or international relations or architecture. But all those would have in common that they have at least 90 credits within urban planning.
Yes. or relevant.
Yeah, exactly. And relevant. And I think one thing that I would advise is when you do apply, add your syllabus. So not just your transcript, but also your syllabus, because then we can really see what a course contained. So the title sometimes could be, I mean, this is especially relevant for students who have studied maths, for example. You know, it doesn't say much. But here I think it's relevant as well to really show what you learned in the courses and if it's relevant in this context.
Yeah.
Okay.
Luke?
Yes. Question from Samuel. Come in. What is the admission rate of your institution?
Oh, this is a difficult one. Christina, how many students do you have on your program?
I mean, we between 30 and 40.
Yeah, I think in my experience, a lot of people apply and they don't actually meet the requirements. So of those who meet the requirements, a lot of people do get admitted. Many of those, but it is quite difficult to meet the requirements. So, and I think that's the part that I don't have those figures of how many apply and how many are kind of, how many get a not admitted result because they don't fulfill the criteria. But in terms of the GPA, which we don't use, or in terms of the kind of that ranking, it's usually we don't use that, so it's usually fine. Christina, do you want to add anything to that?
No, but it's like you said, it's very, I don't have any numbers of that either, so.
Luke?
Okay. Yeah, sure. Next question from Rachel. How is the admission for people with non-European education? I don't know if there's something to add because it was mentioned.
There is no difference. Non-European students have to pay a tuition fee. So, and have a look on the program. I think this program, it should be around 16 to 20,000 euros for the 2 years. And I think that's the thing that you need to bear in mind. Apart from that, you apply exactly the same way. You need to have applied by the 17th of January, though. There is, it's confusing, but there's 2 application rounds. I just mention it for this purpose. Everybody should really apply in the first round, but Europeans can apply in the second round too, but non-Europeans can't, because you won't get your residence permit in time. So this is really important. But apart from that, Mohammed, did you find, how did you find the application process?
As you mentioned, I think it's pretty much the same. I just wanted to add that I know one of the friends that managed to get the visa on time, although she applied for the second round, but mostly it's not the case. So please, if you are not European, do it in the first round.
Yeah, definitely. So admission for non-European education, it's fine as long as your university is listed in the, I think it's called WEHD, World Education Higher something online. There's a database, and as long as your institution is listed there, it doesn't matter which country you studied.
Okay.
Luke.
Yes, thank you very much. We're coming down to the last questions that I see so far. I do want to mention, by the way, before people would leave, it was written in the start, but just to want to emphasize to get to also fill out the polling. So we did have 3 polls by now on the screen. So at the right top, you can click on that and fill out the brief polling, because we'd like to hear your feedback. If you're interested to apply, if not, what is one of those reasons? And in general, if you enjoyed the session, if it was useful for you. Especially useful, that's probably the better word than enjoyed. So we have that polling up there. Thank you to fill that out before you would exit the session. Continuing with the questions, we have, let's see, a question from Nilisha, if I said it correct. So the question is, how does sustainability reflect in urban planning in Sweden? So just a little bit of a concrete answer on that, but she asks, and does the university have a career aid program for students after completing the course? Now, there's two questions. So basically, the first one might be difficult, a bit generic, but let's see if we can bite it on the head, if I say so.
The first one I'm going to pass on to either Christina or Mohammed.
Yeah.
Who feels up to answering that?
How does sustainability reflect in urban planning in Sweden? Yes.
I mean, this is really a big question, of course, and I don't know how to start it, but I mean, the most important thing is to remember that all cities, not only in Sweden, of course, is affected of the climate change situation that we have, and it can be due to urbanization, for example, that we need to be able to plan for housing for people. We need to plan where the houses will be, depending on, for example, flood erosions, rain floods, and so on. So all these climate change issues have really come to affect urban planning, I would say. And that goes for the whole world, I would say. So not only Sweden, but it's, of course, very important in Sweden as well. And we know we can't build houses on specific geological conditions, for example, and you need to take in different aspects when cities are growing. And also you need to think of that, I mean, what we plan for today will affect how the cities and both urban and rural areas will be for the next 100 years, because it's not easy to change what we already have been building. So that's what it comes in, that we have specific ideal cities, or what to say, and sustainability is very important here. And sustainability development and how, like, the best practice in planning, it's an open question, of course, but this is very important. And also that we have different aspects in Sweden, for example, that infrastructure lock-in situation that we really can't change. It's very hard to change the infrastructure. It's inequalities and congestion due to increased urbanization, even though Sweden is a small country and the cities don't have that large amount of people as other countries have, it's still a problem. So it's very important to remember also that the urban planning today goes in line with these 17 global goals of 2030, as Mohammed said before. It's very important to take that in. And with all planning, I would say that we need to have that in our background and in the back, and to plan with sustainability in the back. I think it's very important.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I hope that answered the question with some concrete examples. And
yeah, I just wanted to add that. Yeah, thank you. As Kirsten mentioned, Sweden is doing great job with this environmental and ecological aspect of sustainability, but as well, it's doing great with this social and economic aspects of sustainability. They are considering like the segregation and integration of immigrants to the cities and the newly built neighborhoods. It's very important for them to have a sustainable economy in the future years to come at different levels, municipal, regional, and national. So I just wanted to stress that all these three aspects of sustainability, not only environmental, ecological, but also social and economic, are being addressed very accurately, carefully, and wonderfully, I would say, in Sweden.
Good to hear. Good to hear. Thank you. And the second question was career service. I'm afraid we don't actually have a career service at the moment. There is something kind of called job seekers agency, which you can go to. It's a national authority. The international office have had programs running. I don't know if they currently do, but they have had programs running for master students. So it's worth asking them. But I think the internship and the thesis, I think both are excellent paths to getting the right connections to get a job after your studies. That seems to be the case, isn't that correct, Christina and Mohammed?
Yes, I mean they had one running that you could start right now, I think. So they will probably international office then. But I don't know if it's gonna happen. But you need to apply for that one, so it's not for. I mean, you need to apply in that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's the short answer, I would say. But I can also add one thing that I can add to this sustainability, that of course it's also important for the students to know about this planning tools and planning instruments that we also want to provide the students with. For example, GIS, Geographic Information System, working with the living labs, for example, and test out things, and project management tools that you need to have as a program plan. I was going to point that out.
Thank you. Thanks. Luke, do we have more questions?
Yes, we do. We just got 2 more in. So we will still take these, of course. Gutam is asking, I'm currently studying a master in Riga, and can I shift and get credit for some similar programs?
Well, this is Christina.
Yeah. The short answer is that it depends on you. We need to see the syllabus and what the course's content, but it is possible. But it depends on how similar it is, and we want to make sure that you get everything we want you to get from the program.
Is it common? Has anybody done? Has anybody done that?
No.
No,
not so far.
No, not so far.
Okay.
So.
All right, thank you. And I hope that answered the question. And Samuel has the question. He'd like to know if he would rank the master's program in strategic urban planning a second, third, or even a fourth option. Will he still be eligible for the scholarship?
No. That was a simple question to answer. No, you need to rank it as number 1. This will be the case for most programs at most universities in Sweden, of course. So, we do make it difficult for you. But no, that is the criteria. So the criteria to be eligible to apply for a scholarship from Linköping University is rank the program as number 1, apply on time. Those are basically the 2 important things that you need to fulfill. So I'm afraid you can't rank it lower.
Okay, clear. Great, thank you very much for all the answers already. These are the questions we have received so far. I mean, if we're on the hour, we have 1 or 2 minutes left. So if anyone has still any questions, this is the moment for the live audience. I also like to emphasize, if people are watching the recording from us, it does include the Q&A from our website, so you can still write your questions. So you can do that if you're watching the recording, and they will be sent through to the staff of Linköping University. Yeah, so just for the people watching the recording, and you also participate with the polling. So do also let us know about that feedback.
And when you mentioned this, I think that the quickest way to get a reply from Linköping University directly, if they don't go via you, is to reply to an email that you have already received from us. And usually people who sign up for a program-specific newsletter, you will get you will have established a contact with us. So that's the easiest and quickest way to get in contact with us.
Thank you for emphasizing that.
And also ask questions from students directly on Instagram. I think they usually they help a lot, and I mean, they won't be able to answer program specific questions, but they can answer a lot of questions about what's the first thing you should do, for example, when you get to Linköping or Norrköping. So those questions. But one question I think that tends to come up, which I would find interesting, is Christina and Mohammed. Do students need to do any preparatory reading before they come? Should they spend the summer studying anything?
No. We have some suggestions. If you don't feel that you have urban and regional planning as your main subject from your bachelor, for example, or master, then we put up suggestions. But as I said, it's suggestions, but I really emphasize that it's a good idea to at least have one reading, like a course book from the bachelor that you read before, so you get into the mind of urban planning.
Mohammed, any tips?
Yeah. I just wanted to add that the very distinct feature of this program is the term strategic that is put up in the title. I remember that before me applying for the program, one of my friends told me that this strategic is a luxurious word that the university authorities just wanted to gain traction and attract the attention of the students, but it's not the case at all. This strategic actually plays the critical and fundamental role in this program. In this program, this strategic urban planning is the thing that makes it unique and differentiated from other programs that are running at different universities. And by a strategic, very shortly, the Christina would have told you surely better than me. Just briefly, it's like we are not doing this traditional modern style of urban planning like land use, zoning, etc. It's about collaboration, interaction between all the actors involved in the society. This, let's say, quadruple network helix that demands the interaction between all the actors, from politicians and decision makers to the servants, lay people, everything involved in the society, is the very key for this program, if I'm not mistaken.
Thank you. That was a really good summary of the program, I think.
I was going to say that too. Yes, thank you for that. And with that, I think we do round off the session. If there come some questions that are personal because of a really specific situation, we can always come back to you. So don't worry about that if you have submitted a question. But yeah, with that, thank you from my side, all of you, Christina, Therese, Mohammed, especially as well, for your student insights. Great to have you all here. And last word over to you, Therese, before we close off the session.
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you for joining us, and thank you, Christina and Mohammed, for sharing your expertise and your insights. A quick reminder, the blog, Instagram, those are really good sources for information on what it's really like to be here. Have a look at the program page. Make sure you have a good read of the specific requirements so that you actually know what you're applying for, and also that you have the right background before you do apply. And the first part of this webinar will be on our YouTube page, and I think it will probably be on the program page, but have a look at Linkoping University on YouTube, and don't forget to sign up for the newsletter so that you can get regular updates and reminders of when application periods open and close. And the last thing I wanted to say is on the 19th of October, I can probably share the link with you. I think I have it here. We will have a webinar which is called a workshop DIY online application. I will send that to Luke now so that he can push it out to you. But this is a webinar that will be held with one of our admissions officers, and she will talk you through the application. And it really is quite a straightforward. It's quite a straightforward process. Sometimes it looks a bit, arduous with all the documents that you need to send through. But join the webinar. It will be really good. And that's it from me. And big thank you again. And thank you for your questions.
Thank you.
There you go. Thank you, everybody.
That's the webinar link. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.